What's going on, geeks? My name is Cody Armour. We are here at PAX with The Church in the Darkness. This is the creator, Richard Rouse.
Yeah.
Awesome. Tell me a little bit about you.
You know, I've been making games for a number of years, going back to like making some indie games when I started out for the Macintosh. I've been doing AAA stuff for about 15 years. After that, I worked on a game called The Suffering. I worked at Ubisoft, then Microsoft on things like State of Decay and Sunset Overdrive. And I just recently, for the last couple of years, started my own company to make The Church in the Darkness.
So, we're going to be honest. When we saw The Church in the Darkness, the Bible warrior and me got all excited because I was like, yes, Christian game. But this isn't exactly that. It's kind of a... You said that it could go both ways. It could be very dark, it could be very good. Tell us what this game actually is.
So, you know, it's a game set inside a religious cult in the 1970s.
Yeah.
And I deliberately picked the name that you're sort of alluding to, the Church in the Darkness, because it can mean multiple things. So like they see themselves as a church that shines forth from the darkness. It's sort of a beacon of light in a world that's dark and depraved. But you could also see them, you could interpret it as a player, as a church that is assumed in darkness itself, right? Or it's, you know, they're in the jungle, which is sometimes referred to as the darkness or a dark place. And I just wanted to look at, you know, a religious movement that was interpreting the Bible in a very specific way, you know, taking the more socialist parts of the Bible and really embracing that, and then you know, sort of having a movement that was very progressive and doing a lot of things that sounded good, but also was kind of weird and creepy. So you as a player don't necessarily know how to feel about it, and as you're playing the game, you're trying to figure out, are these guys dangerous or are they actually okay?
It's different every time you play. Was that correct?
Right. I mean, that's the interesting thing to me about you know, about groups like this, about cults, about, you know, sort of extreme groups, is that some of them are fine, right? We tend to only hear about the ones where it goes horribly wrong, people die, something like that. You know, a lot of these groups, you know, they just want to go do their thing. They're not going to hurt themselves. They're not going to hurt anybody else. And they have views that the rest of us see as weird, you know, the people in mainstream society see as weird, but that they see as like the right way to go. Like they feel called or whatever, and are feeling like, we got to do this. We got to set an example for the world of how to run a truly just society. You know, so these people have taken, you know, the more, you know, left stuff that you can find in the Bible, and have embraced that and are building their society around caring for each other and sharing in kind and all of that. So it's an interesting subject to me to explore and just try it as in a game form, because you can play it multiple times and get different versions of it. So each time you play, the story changes, whether they've gone over to be actually dangerous and harmful, or if they're just eccentric, right? You need to figure it out each time you play the game.
So it's definitely a different concept. How did this come to be? I know we talked to someone else on your team, and they said that you know, it was definitely your idea. You were very interested in this before making the game, and definitely had an idea of what to do. How did that idea come to be?
I'm fascinated, by games that are replayable, that have different narratives, and I think setting a game in something with a complex story that isn't either easily good or bad, that's sort of in that gray area, is really interesting because it lets the player think about it. And I'd been studying sort of, you know, extreme religious groups, extreme, like, you know, cults of all kinds, just as this interesting, like, how did people get to this place where, you know, some horrible thing happened? Right. And then studying those groups where it did go bad, you realize, well, they had a lot of good things about them. Like they really did help some people along the way, or they started out helping people and then it went bad. Why did it go bad? So I found it fascinating that way. And then as I was doing research, I found a lot of groups that it didn't go bad, right? That they just run a commune somewhere in California that's running to this day, that's run since the 70s, and it's fine. Or this other group, they moved to Hawaii and things didn't work out, and they just dispersed. They just all went home, right?
Yeah.
You know, they decided this didn't work out. So it's not always the big ones that make the headlines every time.
Right.
So trying to present that nuance in a nuanced way.
I think that goes for the whole church as a whole, too. Even in just Protestant, being over-encompassing, is there are definitely good things that the church does.
Right.
And there are also things that many church members will not want to talk about too badly.
Right.
Those are it's like whatever speaks the loudest is always kind of the worst things. Cool. So when does this game come out? Where can you get it at?
Cool. Yeah, no, it's coming out next year.
Okay.
You know, we're going to be launching on Steam for PC and Mac. We're also coming to PlayStation and Xbox, you know, and we haven't worked out all the details of how, when each one of those things is going to happen, but we're working hard on making this game sort of live up to the the potential that people seem to like.
I did get to play it a little bit myself. It plays kind of like a Metal Gear Solid in a way, the old school Metal Gears. A lot of fun. Definitely an interesting concept, and I think anyone that's into Geeks and Grace, we kind of have, it's not just that we're Christians, but we also like the ideas of religion. And so I think if you're interested in that kind of aspect in different, religions, different cults, things like that, you're going to really enjoy it. So definitely check it out. Thank you so much for speaking with us and letting us know everything about it.
Awesome. Thank you. Thanks for having me.